Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast.
Good to be back.
Today we're taking a look at IREN and its upcoming earnings report. This is a really interesting one, a company operating right at the crossroads of, well, two massive trends, Bitcoin mining and AI data centers.
Definitely a hot space.
So our goal for you today, the informed investor, is to basically sift through the data, figure out the expectations, and point out what really matters when those numbers actually drop. Before we jump in, though, if you're finding these discussions helpful, please do take a second to subscribe, like, and comment. It genuinely helps us keep this going.
It really does.
And if you feel like it, you could even consider buying us a coffee. Your support means a lot. Also, if there's a specific company you want us to look into next time, just drop it in the comments below. We definitely read those.
You do. Always looking for ideas.
Okay, let's get into IREN. First things first, the basics. When are we actually expecting these latest numbers?
Right. So the report is scheduled for after the market closes on Thursday, August 28th, 2025. That's going to be around 5 p.m. Eastern time.
August 28th after the bell.
Yeah.
Got it. And what are the analysts thinking? What's the consensus?
Okay, so revenue consensus is sitting at $171.95 million. For EPS, earnings per share, there's a bit of a split, which is interesting.
Oh.
Yeah, Zacks is calling for 11 cents, but Market Beat has it higher at $0.17. Generally, Zacks is maybe referenced a bit more often for these quarterly estimates in the sector.
11 cents versus 17 cents? Okay, that's quite a gap.
It is. And what's also worth noting is, while there isn't like an official whisper number out there, the commentary from Zacks seems to suggest pretty muted expectations. They even hint at a potential miss, actually.
Really? So they're thinking maybe even below their own $0.11 estimate.
Their internal view seems to be leaning that way. Yeah, below the consensus, certainly. Yeah. And adding to that, IREN itself, they didn't issue specific number guidance for this quarter recently. Oh. Their management talk has been more focused on, scaling up capacity both for AI data centers and Bitcoin mining and trying to maintain operational margins, less about precise forecasts.
Okay, so a bit of a mixed signal on the expectations up front. Some analysts are already maybe bracing for a miss. That's definitely a crucial place to start. So then how has IREN actually done against expectations historically? What's their track record like when earnings roll around?
Yeah, looking back definitely gives us some important context. Last quarter, for example, they reported 8 cents EPS against a 12-cent consensus. So that was a pretty big miss, about 33%.
Ouch. Okay.
And over the last 4 quarters, it's really been a mixed bag. They've kind of alternated between small beats and, well, some notable misses like that last one. There's maybe a slight bias towards underperforming on the EPS estimates overall.
And how does the stock react? Is it predictable?
Predictable? Not really. Volatile? Absolutely. The stock's price reactions after earnings have been pretty wild. We're talking average next day moves of plus or minus, say, 7 to 12%.
Wow. So big swings.
Big swings. And what's really interesting is how it reacts. When they miss, those initial drops seem to stick. They tend to hold. But on the flip side, when they've beaten estimates, sometimes those initial pops, the upside moves, they've actually faded during the day.
Huh. That's fascinating. So a beat doesn't always mean the stock runs all day.
Exactly. It suggests the market is maybe a bit skeptical, perhaps looking past that immediate beat for, more fundamental proof or stronger guidance.
That makes sense, especially with the two different business lines. So digging into the operations then, what about the key metrics? How did those look during the quarter?
All right. Operationally, Bitcoin mining capacity has shown pretty consistent growth. They recently hit 50 exahashes per second.
And 50 EHs, just for context, that's pretty substantial, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's a huge amount of computing power for mining. It puts them up there with the major players among publicly traded miners. It lets them capitalize on Bitcoin price. But yeah, it also exposes them to energy costs.
Gotcha. And the other side, the AI data center business.
That's the newer piece, still very much in the ramp-up phase. So honestly, there isn't a clear established trend in revenue there yet. It's still pretty nascent.
Still early days for that segment's contribution.
Very early days. Margins overall have been feeling the pressure, energy costs, equipment costs. That's despite their efforts to scale up operations. And revenue growth overall has generally tracked, Bitcoin prices and how much they expanded their data center output.
It really does sound like they're juggling, trying to scale two capital-intensive businesses at once.
It's a balancing act, for sure.
So connecting that to the bigger picture, what significant events or, broader trends were happening during the quarter that might shape these results? Any big news from IREN itself?
Well, internally, they did make progress. They expanded their data center capacity. The operational number is now 810 megawatts. That's a key figure showing their commitment to that AI cloud vertical.
810 megawatts operational.
Okay. And they kept growing the Bitcoin mining fleet, too. What we didn't see last quarter was any really major M&A or, like, game-changing product announcements. The focus seems to be on execution.
Okay, executing on the existing plan. And what about the world around them? The macro environment, sector trends?
Yeah, that's crucial here. Bitcoin price, obviously, saw some significant volatility during the quarter. A higher average price generally helps their mining revenue.
Naturally.
Then on the AI side, I mean, demand for that kind of infrastructure is just booming. Huge amounts of capital are flowing into data centers, computing power. That's a direct tailwind for IREN's AI business.
But there are headwinds too, right?
Absolutely. Energy prices remain a big factor. And regulatory scrutiny, both for mining and data centers, that's always a background risk for the whole sector.
And what are analysts saying lately? Any recent upgrades or downgrades heading into the print?
Coverage is still somewhat limited, but generally the tone is cautiously optimistic. Constructive maybe on the long-term potential because of that AI data center angle.
But cautious near term?
Yeah, they flag the near-term margin pressures and the execution risks involved in that ramp-up. As of, say, August 22nd, we haven't seen any big, high-profile rating changes right before earnings.
Okay, so this evolving story, less pure Bitcoin miner, more AI infrastructure play that's really central.
It is. It creates opportunity, but also challenges in how you value them and predict performance.
So with all that context, what's the technical picture? How's the stock behaving? And what are options traders betting on?
Well, leading into the report, the shares have actually pulled back a bit, maybe 1% in the last week or so. They've underperformed the broader tech indexes.
Suggests maybe some caution.
Could be muted sentiment, maybe some risk aversion, yeah. And while we don't have super specific public put-call ratio data for IREN readily available, the open interest in options, the number of contracts outstanding, is definitely elevated compared to normal levels.
Meaning traders are positioning for a move.
Exactly, either hedging their bets or speculating on volatility. And the options market itself, it's currently pricing in about a plus or minus 10 to 12% move for the stock right after earnings.
Okay, 10-12%. And how does that compare to past moves?
It's pretty much right in line with those historical swings we talked about, that 7-12% range. So the options market is basically expecting history to repeat itself in terms of volatility.
Got it. So the market expects fireworks? Maybe, but the recent price action is a little subdued. This really sets up a couple of distinct possibilities, doesn't it?
It really does.
Let's try and sketch those out. What does the bullish case look like for IREN this quarter?
Okay, the bullish scenario, the dream scenario for investors, is basically a beat and raise. So both revenue and EPS come in above that consensus we mentioned.
Driven by what?
Could be better than expected Bitcoin mining yields, maybe efficiency gains there. But crucially, you'd also want to see signs of an earlier than expected pickup in those AI and data center contracts actually turning into revenue.
Right, the monetization piece.
Exactly. And then positive forward guidance is key. If they talk about accelerating AI revenue growth or maybe better than expected margin expansion looking ahead, that would really fuel the bullish case. It signals that the pivot is working.
Okay, that's the upside. What about the bearish side? What would a bad report look like?
The bearish case would obviously be an EPS and revenue miss against consensus, especially if that's combined with weak guidance for the next quarter or the rest of the year.
What specifically would drive a miss like that?
The big worry would be slower than promised progress in actually monetizing that AI data center build-out, or maybe commentary about margins getting squeezed even more by higher operational costs. And of course, you could also see Bitcoin price volatility hitting revenue, or maybe delays in their expansion plans. Any of those could contribute. But really, the number one thing to watch, I really want to emphasize this, is the forward commentary and any hard numbers they give on booked revenue in that AI data center segment.
That's the leading indicator.
Absolutely. That's what the market sees as the key to the long-term story, the potential for the stock to get re-rated higher.
Yeah, that AI data center piece, it really feels like the swing factor, doesn't it? That's where the narrative battle is being fought.
It truly is. Is it a real growth engine or still mostly a Bitcoin story?
So putting it all together then,
Yeah.
what's your overall take, the leaning here? And what should listeners maybe consider from a trading perspective?
Well, summing it all up, my overall leaning is neutral.
Neutral.
Yeah. The risk-reward just feels very finely balanced. Given the history of volatility and this whole evolving story, I think large moves are possible in either direction.
And your confidence level in predicting that direction?
Pretty low, honestly. I'd give it a 4 out of 10.
Why so cautious?
It comes down to a few things. One, low visibility on how quickly that AI revenue is actually ramping up. We just don't have clear data points yet. Two, the crypto backdrop is just inherently volatile. And three, IREN's own track record on earnings surprises is, well, a bit checkered, as we discussed.
All right, that mixed history. So, strategy-wise.
Okay, for investors who are more risk-averse, the simple advice is probably just to wait. Avoid holding the stock through the earnings announcement itself. Wait for the dust to settle, get some clarity, look for technical confirmation afterwards.
And for those with a higher risk tolerance?
For those comfortable with the potential volatility, you could consider strategies designed to play for a big move regardless of direction. Something like an at-the-money, short-term straddle or strangle might make sense. The implied volatility, remember, is pretty much in line with past actual moves, and the uncertainty about the outcome is genuinely high.
So options plays for volatility itself might be on the table?
Could be, for the right kind of trader, yeah.
It really does sound like IREN is walking a tightrope here. Big potential upside from AI, but significant risks and volatility tied to execution in Bitcoin. Understanding all these angles is critical.
It's just fascinating watching this narrative unfold. You know, it's not just a Bitcoin miner anymore. It's trying to grab a piece of the AI boom, and that creates huge opportunities, but also these unique challenges in how the market sees them and values them.
Absolutely. And for you, our listener, the key takeaway here isn't just about the final EPS number. It's about understanding the story behind those numbers. Is IREN showing real, tangible progress in monetizing that expensive AI infrastructure? Or is its fate still primarily tied to the ups and downs of Bitcoin? That's really the core question to think about as we wait for this report.
Well said.
Okay, thank you for joining us for this look into IREN's upcoming earnings. We really hope this discussion helped you feel more informed, maybe a bit more confident as you navigate the markets.
Hope it was helpful.
And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us a comment if you enjoyed this, or if you have another company you'd like us to cover down the road.
You appreciate the feedback.
We'll be back soon with more insights right here on Investing Talk Podcast. Until then, happy investing.